Good evening. This November 24th, 2020 open meeting of the Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberation of the meeting. For this meeting, the Conservation Commission is convening by Zoom as posted on the agenda, which can be found on the town's website. You may join by following the link in the agenda. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that attendees are participating by video and/or telephone conference. Meeting materials were provided to the board prior to the meeting for review. Applicants or their representatives may be called upon to speak and, if needed, share information to the screen. Please state your intention after you've been called. Before turning to the first item on the agenda, the ground rules for the effective and clear conduct of the business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes are as follows. I, the chair, will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comments, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute yourself when you're not speaking. Please use earbuds with tablets or cell phones. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Please be aware that video participants can see you and that you should take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. Board or committee members should be called upon in first name alphabetical order to ease the process. If board members wish to engage with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourselves. After the board members have spoken, the chair will afford the public comment as follows. The chair will seek questions through the raise hand function. For video conference participants, this function can be accessed by clicking on the participant option listed in the menu below the photo gallery. The window will open and display on the right. On the bottom of this participant area, you will see the list of phone or video participants. And on the bottom, you will see the ability to click on a button to raise hand. Please ensure your name is displayed, list your name, address, and then your question. Telephone participants can use their phone's keypad while in a Zoom meeting to raise hand by hitting *9. The chair will then seek questions from the public that have hit the raise hand button in the order of which they are listed. The participant will be called on to identify their name and address and then their question. The chair will afford the applicant or the representative the opportunity to reply. Your hand will be lowered when you have been given the floor for your question. The board will continue down the list of those in the raise hand column and again afford the applicant or rep an opportunity to speak. Should there be a physical or electronic submittal of questions or concerns, they will be read for the record, and again, the applicant or rep will be afforded the opportunity to speak if the issues raised have not yet been addressed. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call. Additional items will be called upon and handled in the same manner. So, here we go. Hey, Bill, any updates before we get rolling?
Muted.
We have a site walk on December 2nd for the One Plum Bush site walk.
What time is that at?
All right.
And I need to have, I think it was Brian, Ben, and Ward. I think you all wanted to attend the site walk. So I need to have those questions sent back to me so I can get them to Mike Aben.
Okay. Mary, do you know about this?
No. What time is the
All right.
sidewalk
So
scheduled for?
basically,
I was done get black, and she was like, no, get brown.
we got appealed on a project out on Plumbush Downs, and they're going to do the site walk for the appeal. And they've invited us, and, whoever is interested to come along. They just have a cap on the number of people. And to just simplify the summary of why they're doing the appeal, we didn't get all the information in prior to closing the project. It was a planting plan that we let go. And, that was enough for them to tell us they wanted to have a look.
So that was an intervention on DEP's part, not a, okay, yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So with that being said, let's hit the agenda. What do we got? We are starting off with, we have a special meeting on the 1st of December coming up, and our next regular meeting is on December 8th. The special meeting, December 1st, is a bylaw discussion where we're going to sort of get all that rolling. Bill, do you want to cover that process and what you've heard from various town council meetings about how we're going to do that?
Yeah. Can you hear me? All right.
Yeah. If you
Can you hear
can
me all
call
right?
in with your phone. Use your phone, Bill. Maybe drop the computer.
I'm trying to do that. Hold on a second.
Okay. All right. Well, while he's doing that, yeah, like I said, the summary is that Bill's been talking to town council about a bylaw that we're trying to do. The various members who are involved have different motivations, but we're going to sort of open it in that special meeting and try to set the calendar for the various public comment periods and, the various town officials who we want to seek input from to sort of set a deadline for them and to sort of set the calendar to hopefully be ready in time for the spring town meeting.
There's no place to go.
Roughly speaking, that's the plan for the first. But if you guys want any more details about that, Bill Holt's been the one talking to council about the various hoops and when and how and in what style to jump through them. Yeah, Pete.
7 p.m., sir?
Sure.
No, it was at the time of the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, it's not set.
Okay.
So if you want to do 7, we can do 7.
Wasn't suggesting, just asking.
Okay. Well, let's settle on that then. Would we like to sort of stick with the usual time? You want to move it a little earlier, or I see a thumbs up. Is that for the usual time, Ben? All right. Well, then let's do it this way. Let's have a motion to sort of stick to the usual time for a special meeting on the 3rd. Go on, Pete.
I
I see
move.
you smiling.
I would make a motion that we have a special meeting for discussion on bylaw for the 1st of December, 7 p.m.
Excellent.
Second that.
Thank you, Bill. All right. So now we do our roll call. Bill,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
LM, Mary. Mary, you're next in alphabetical order.
Yes.
All right. And Peter. Kevin,
Oh,
you want a thumbs up?
yes, I probably won't be there, but yes.
Okay. Well, if you know you're not going to be there and there's anything on your mind, send an email to Bill or to the group and we'll bring it up then.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys. So we're doing the special meeting at 7 p.m. on the 1st. Moving right along, we have meeting minutes from August 24th and October the 7th. Did everybody get a chance to look at the meeting minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Rousing affirmation. Great. So in that case, does anybody want to make a motion to accept the minutes as they're written or edit them as appropriate?
Move to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
I'm sorry, I can't hear anybody. Who's got feedback? Is that me or is somebody else?
No, it was someone that's called in with the last, I think.
Bill's
I think
cell
Richard-
phone. That's
Mine.
All
I apologize.
All right, let's do that again. What just happened? Somebody
move
start
to
over.
accept the minutes as written.
Second.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. And we'll do the roll call. Bill,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Mary,
Abstain.
Peter,
Yes, please.
Kevin,
Yes.
and I'll vote in the affirmative as well. And actually, I suppose technically, Mary, you shouldn't be voting on that, right? Because you weren't there.
I voted abstain.
Oh, okay.
See.
Sorry. Obviously, my feedback is still
Yep.
there. All right. Brilliant. Moving along. On to our public hearings. First event of the night, we have Mary Lou Colburn at 22 20th Street on Plum Island, an RDA to add a mudroom/entryway using the existing deck's footprint. All right. So Bill Holt, how's your phone now? How's your audio?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Much better. Yeah.
All right.
All right, Bill, you want to introduce us?
Yeah, actually, this is Mrs. Colburn's going to take out the existing deck and replace it with a new entry, which is much smaller. The entire deck is going to be removed, as well as the current storage unit at the storage area at the deck, and they're going to replace it with an entry, so it's much smaller, have less impact on the floodplain, and less impact on the cover of the site. I'll let Mrs. Colburn, if she has anything to add. I know that I'm going to use helical foundation supports for the new addition.
I don't
Okay,
really have anything
thanks.
to add unless you have questions. It's
Well,
a pretty
okay.
basic addition.
All right. Let's go around the horn then. Let me see if I'll correct my alphabetical order thing. Instead of starting with Bill, let's go to Ben.
I think that my only questions are the standard ones as far as staging and materials and dumpsters and things like that on my own.
Okay. I'm presuming, Bill, that's going to be addressed sort of the usual way with a pre-construction visit type thing.
Yep, there's actually room in front of the house where there's room for a dumpster to be put. If needed, there'll be some construction debris when you move the deck, so they may need a dumpster for that. And it's right at the front of the house, so there's access right off the road.
Okay, so nothing concerning in that vein on your mind. All right.
Nope, should be fairly straightforward.
Okay, cool. You good, Ben?
As long as there's no water in there or anything like that. Yep.
Okay. Bill Lord?
I'm good with it. If Bill Holder's good with it.
Okay. Daniel?
Nothing really, sticks out at me that's a problem, so I'm good.
Let's do Kevin. Now that I'm correcting my alphabet, I might as well stick with it.
This looks like it's in the rear of the house. I saw the plans, like the rear of the house towards the basin, or is this the front of the house?
No, it's the front of the house towards
Okay.
the street.
Okay. I had a little concern with debris, but it was in the back, being so close to the basin, but no, I'm all set.
Okay, Mary?
I just had a couple of questions on the architectural plan that was submitted. It shows the area to be demolished as including the deck that extends beyond, to the right of the addition, but the photos that were marked up don't show that. So I just want to clarify if all of the deck is proposed to be taken out.
All of the deck will be taken off. Yeah, there'll be bushes, probably like some kind of like a boxed area for soil to plant some bushes, but the deck itself will be gone.
So you want to bring in some material for planting bed?
Down the road, I mean, that's not going to happen right now, but ideally, yes.
Okay, so I did have concerns. Just, I mean, obviously, you're reducing impacts if you're removing the deck, building on the same footprint. I don't know if you're reusing the same piles, or you're going to have to install additional piles for.
There'll be new piles put in.
New piles. Okay, thank you. And then there's a fair amount of dune grass in the front yard there and on the side, and I'm sure that that's going to be all.
Yeah, I hope to plant more. I mean, I've owned the house for quite some time, and we've had renters, and I know many, many years ago I had a lot more. So I would like to plant more dune grass where it's
right. It's sort of been trampled and everything now. So, filing an RDA, it limits our ability to put those kind of conditions on the project. So, that's something for the commission to discuss as far as what types of filings are appropriate for what types of activities. But I think if we could at least just include some kind of special condition within the RDA that says that any disturbed areas to be replanted with American beach grass, and any further planting that's proposed that use only native coastal plantings. And there's a good variety of those that you can install, just so there's not non-native plants that are introduced there.
Okay.
Yeah, and just sort of to follow Mary's point a little bit, Bill Holt, you were saying, it looks okay in terms of construction debris and parking and, access and all that. But what risks are there to sort of, the truck driver being a little, rough, shall we say, with the parking area? Should we get some kind of barrier and sort of define where the work area is, and with a visual, maybe physical, put cones out or put up something,
Snow fencing or something.
Like a snow fence or erosion control?
Yeah, something in that vein.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Mary, I don't think you heard you. You said limit of work, yeah?
Oh, that's what I meant. Yes, either erosion control barrier or snow fencing or something, just to limit the disturbance, this disturbed area, as much as possible during construction.
Yeah, I can go over that during the pre-construction meeting.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful, just because, Ms. Colburn, as you said, you used to have more. And if somebody.
I didn't have more where we're doing anywhere near the construction or where we currently park, but in the front of my house, to my recollection, I did have more.
It looks like it's fairly recent. I drove by there today, and it looked like it was fairly recent trampling.
The grass has not been there for some time.
Okay.
There have been cars parking in there, during our construction, but there was never grass there.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Bill, let's go with that idea, just because, if somebody, if they take an inch and they turn it into a mile, so to speak, with their parking jobs, let's keep this cleanish.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Mary, you good?
All set. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Ben, I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, did we know what kind of piles are going to be used, and do we have any I guess that given I didn't see anything about piles, as I made a faulty assumption that there was not going to be new piles installed.
They're going to be
Typically,
using. Yeah,
no, it's okay, Bill.
she's going to use the helical style, not sonotubes or. So there'll be no piling really. It's the screw in. I think the screw in type. They're rather innovative actually. So.
What are the what's the current deck height, and that's not going to change?
Not going to change.
What is the current deck height?
Ooh.
I measured to be approximately 15 to 18 inches off the ground right now.
It has to meet the front door. It's right at the
Right.
elevation of the front door, so we can't go any higher than
Right.
that right there. But the plan doesn't show any piles or note that it's helical piles, so I think our decision should note that only helical piles should be used.
And I'd say in the future, these are all details that should
Need to
come
be
in on a
included in the
project like
plan.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I
it
just-
isn't a flood zone, but we don't have we know it's elevation 13, but we don't know how that corresponds to what the deck height is. But it's not changing, so there isn't any
Right.
change there.
And a lot of the decks coming out, so it's going
And the
to
deck's
actually
coming out.
decrease the amount of.
Right, which is good.
I have COVID.
All right. Well, then let's move on. Kevin, what's on your mind?
Muted.
I thought I already spoke, so I'm good.
Did you? Sorry.
That's all right.
Apparently it's already, I'm acting like it's 9 o'clock already. All right, where was I? So I did Mary, and then what? Peter?
No concerns, thanks.
Okay. So Bill, you want to go over the just that list of conditions we're gonna throw on the end of this RDA?
Yep. You're gonna add erosion control at the limit of work. Pre-construction meeting to discuss that. Location of the dumpster, if needed, will be discussed at the pre-construction meeting. It'll use American beach grass to replace vegetation or native coastal plantings. No ornamental or other plantings. And they'll use helical piles for the supports of the new addition.
Okay. Does that sound right to everybody? Okay, cool. And Ms. Colburn, that all sounds okay with you?
It does, yep.
Okay, it all makes sense. No, it's all clear. No questions.
I don't have any, nope.
Okay. Well then, assuming we've discussed this, if anybody wants to make a motion about a determination.
Any of butters?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, the public part. I'm off my game. I haven't even started. Let's see. Any participants? Any hands up?
No hand.
I don't see any hands up this time. Good. And then just anybody on the call who is here to talk about this?
Timing.
That was funny. All right. Well then, in that case, now let's do, who would like to make a motion?
To approve the plans as conditioned.
I think that we need a vote to issue a negative determination of applicability.
Yeah, sorry, my fault. Again, not on my game also, sorry.
Negative 3, determination with the conditions discussed.
Second,
Okay.
All right. Roll call. Benjamin.
Yes.
Excellent. Bill.
Yes.
Daniel.
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
And Peter.
yes.
And I will also vote in the affirmative. All right, great. Ms. Colburn, would you like, or I suppose, Bill, you should probably give her the script about timing.
Okay, once the hearing is completed and closed, the commission must issue its decision known as a determination within 21 days. You may appeal the determination issued under the act within 10 days. Abutters, 10 residents of the community, and the Mass DEP can also appeal within the 10-day period. No work can begin until the 10-day period is up.
And I'm sorry, that's after an initial 21 days?
No, we have to issue the determination within 21 days. And then once it's issued, there's a 10-day appeal period.
When do you typically issue? I mean, does it usually take?
No, it'll probably be next week. Next week
Okay.
sometime. I'm out tomorrow and Thursday because of the holiday. So, early next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
And I'm sorry, and then it will have to wait 10 days once you do that.
Yep.
Should be
Okay.
10
Yep,
business
there's a 10-day
days
appeal period.
postmark date.
Okay.
Am I wrong in remembering that being an RDA, she can work at her own peril during that period? So if she wants to go forward, she can do it, but she's putting herself at risk if there is an appeal. Because it's an RDA and not an NOI.
I believe that's correct.
So, does that any questions about that, Ms. Colburn?
Well, yeah, so if say, for example, they did go ahead with demoing any part of this project, then there could be repercussions if something happens during those 10 days?
Yeah, so you can't do anything until you get the order. If you want to be completely safe, you wait 10 business days after the order. If you
Okay.
don't think, if you want to take a risk and think there's going to be no appeal, then you can go ahead and start working.
Okay,
I think that requires some sort of letter to the commission indicating that there used to be some paper attached with that provision. Some formal notification you intend to do that.
okay,
Well, she'll have to have a pre-construction meeting anyway as a condition, so
Right.
they can hash it out at that point.
okay.
Yep.
Probably.
Okay. Then assuming yeah, Ben.
No, I thought we were done with this one. I was going to make a motion
yeah.
between hearings or between cases here. My last motion for 2020 will be that Mary makes all the motions.
No.
Funny. All right. Well, then, yeah, in that case, Ms. Colburn, you're all set, and you'll hear from Bill next week. And, he's accessible and friendly and knowledgeable. So, if you need anything, he's a very helpful fellow.
Okay,
Great. So then
Okay, thank you all
let's move
very
on
much.
to our next item. No problem. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we've got Ryan and Stephanie Kelly, 6 Marshmeadow Lane, DEP number not yet assigned. It's an NOI for construction of a 2-family dwelling and grading. So, Bill, what's the story, and who's here for the Kellys?
I think Bob Grasso is the applicant's engineer. Let him present the plans. I can put it up on the screen if you'd like.
Yes,
Can you co-host me? Host me. I can put my on the screen and I can put my arrow as I'm talking.
Yeah, I think Gretchen can do that.
For the record, my name is Bob Grasso from Engineering Land Services. I'm representing Ryan and Stephanie Kelly. The project is 6 Marshmeadow Lane. Can I share screen now?
Let me see if I can do that.
How's that?
Oh, there we go. Brilliant.
Okay, it's 6 Marshmeadow Lane. It's a vacant lot. We had the wetland delineated by Norse Environmental shown in blue right here, 1A through 24A, which is at the top up here. We also have an isolated wetlands pocket right here with 1B through 6B shown right here. The purple line is the 25 wetland, no cut, no disturb zone. The first yellow line located right here is the 50-foot wetland setback. The second line is the 100-foot wetland buffer. There were soil tests conducted out there prior to me getting involved in the site I believe by Hayes Engineering. So what we did was we submitted a septic design showing this plan to the Board of Health, which is currently under review. What we're proposing to do is construct a 2-family dwelling shown right here in brown. The dimension would be 90 feet by roughly 60 feet wide, with a 6-bedroom total count. We're proposing a 2,000-gallon holding tank down, shown in green right here, to a SB system, which would be 52 by 18 feet wide. The finished grade would be roughly 2 feet above the existing grade, and would be located outside the 100-foot buffer. We're also proposing a paved driveway coming off Plumman Drive that the lots that use out there, shown right here in black. It will be elevated at the top, and then it will be downgraded, starting out at elevation 60 down to 52. The parking lot, parking area, the drive, is shown right here. We're proposing a landscaped rock retaining wall to cut into the grade. We're also proposing roof infiltrators, shown right here in orange. There'd be 48 units. That would take the first flush of the roof, and all that would be collected through piping and right into this area. There'd be 48 units, as I said. During construction, we're proposing right here a red line, the silt fence, silt sock, temporary erosion, and that would be the limit of work. So basically, all the work would be outside the 50-foot wetland setback. All the grading behind, basically all the grading would be behind the building and cutting into the hill right in here, and the grading for the driveway. And there's minimum amount of grading here. During the DEP review, we had filed under the 2A category, which would be for a single family dwelling, which I thought would be for one building. But after the review of the DEP review, they came back with a review of a category 3B, which throws us into apartments and condo units and anything other than a single family dwelling, which bumped our fee up to from $500 filing fee to $1,050, which Bill had, I spoke to Bill prior to the meeting. He had sent out an email to DEP yesterday and got a feedback today, confirming that we are category 3B. So we will revise the notice of intent filing fee with DEP and send a revised filing fee form with the transmittal form, and also the correct fee to the town of Newbury, which will be $275 to DEP and $275 to the town of Newbury. And that's basically the project. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you. Let's start with Bill. You have any comments on this to start us off?
Yeah, if I could get control of the
Sure.
screen.
How do I stop that? I'll stop share. Okay. Okay. There you go.
Great. Let's see it. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah, can you make it larger? There you go.
Okay, so he does have the appropriately sized infiltration units for the roof runoff. It is right up against the 50-foot no build zone, but in the silt fence erosion control is inside the 50. I'm going to guess there'll be a little bit of grading that's going to go on to level off the area where the roof runoff is going to go. So I think he's actually a little bit of work in the 50-foot. Not a lot. I think it's reasonable. But I know he mentioned that they didn't have any, but I think there's a little bit right there. The house is 72 feet from the closest point in the wetlands, which is flag 11A, which is more than the 50-foot policy of no build. There's quite a bit of ledge outcrops out there. I don't know if you're going to have any blasting in this area, particularly where you're cutting into the hill.
Yeah, we're proposing a slab foundation, so we're not having a full basement. So that's why we're building a slab.
Okay. And you don't think there'll be any ledge over?
I located the ledge outcrop, which is shown in the very heavy lined. It says ledge outcrop line
I see it. Yep.
To the right of the building and to the left of the building, also to the right. But it does. There's some big boulders around there, but I didn't see any large outcrops like the ones I located there.
Yeah. It does also provide a grass swale along the edge of the driveway for treatment of the runoff up the driveway, which is all outside the 100-foot buffer. The septic's outside the 100-foot buffer. It is very close to the isolated wetland, which is non-jurisdictional. It's also, I took a look at the watershed area for this particular isolated area, and it's not large enough, won't generate enough runoff to become an isolated range of the flooding. So it's okay there. It's not indicated as a vernal pool, as a certified vernal pool, and it doesn't appear to have the qualifications for a vernal pool. I don't know if there's no DEP number for this as of right now, and the only comment was the one on the fee. I don't know if they'll generate other comments once the fee is paid and the number is associated with it. And I also been wondering if the commission would like to do a site walk of the property and take a look at the site where the house is going and where the septic's going and this isolated area. It might be worthy of a site walk just to get a feel for what's out there. So not having a DEP number, I would recommend that we probably continue the hearing until the DEP number is assigned and we get any further comments, if any, from DEP. Other than that, I think it's a fairly reasonable project. It's not working too much into the buffer zone. It's kind of only doing what's necessary to create the grading around the house and the driveway. The septic, I know during construction of the septic, they're going to be right close to this isolated. Are you planning on keeping this isolated wetland intact, or is it going to be filled in, or?
No, we're gonna keep that way. What we'll also do is if you want, you can write in the order conditions that we protect with temporary silt fence, so we don't touch that isolated wetland. That's fine.
Yeah, it might be during construction. It might be a good idea to have some erosion control around that if you're going to maintain it as an isolated wetland depression. That's basically what I have. Oh, one other thing, I did talk to the planning department, and this project, this lot, is a part of an OSRD. So when you might want to talk to the building inspector and the planning department about the requirements under the OSRD for the number of units and all that in the area. So that's something you might want to check with them.
I believe the owner applicant has talked, the building inspector has been on site and has talked to the owner about the two-family dwelling.
Okay. All right.
Can I actually
That's
offer
all
some?
I have.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Bud Kelly, Ryan's father. Wanted to just touch base that we already did have Peter out there ahead of time. We had Bill out there ahead of time as well on purpose. We wanted to make sure that we were dotting I's and crossing T's if there were any questions or concerns. This building is in keeping with the town guidelines and the town bylaws. We've made sure of that beforehand. So I can tell you that Peter has already walked the property, and as I hope that you guys do as well, and gave his sign off on and approval on moving forward with this.
Okay, thank you. Good to know. All right. Well then, Bill Holt, if you're done, I will go around the horn and see what's on everybody's mind. Benjamin, why don't you get us started?
I mean, knowing it's going to be continued, I don't have any huge deep dives right now. I'm familiar with the site. I was there this morning. There's been clearing there already. I don't think anything's occurred within the 100-foot zone, but maybe close. It's just very steep. I mean, as you can see in the plans, it's a very steep grade down to the wetland. And so that's my largest concern at this moment. And I especially, just it's a smaller lot and there isn't any real flat place to build on it, but it's a very steep grade down to the wetland. It's an intact wetland. It's a pretty cool wetland, and high ecological value and everything like that. And so things like the infiltrator units that maybe could get moved to what would be the northeast corner of the building and might be able to go further away from the house or something like that, if that's logistically possible engineering wise. It's an initial thought on my part, but I think I'm familiar with the site, but I think if there's concerns on the rest of the members, from other members of the commission, it is worth going out to look at.
Okay, thank you. All right, Bill Lord.
I don't have any questions at this time. I think a site walk is a good idea.
Okay. Daniel?
Yeah, just a couple little things. Given what I'm hearing, I kind of wonder if 12-inch silt sock is adequate erosion control for some areas here where there's a lot of slope, hard digging, that sort of thing. So we might want to think about that. And I think that's all I got. I had something else, but it's gone. I don't know where it went.
All right. Kevin?
I share the same concern about the roof runoff, where that is. As far as where the septic is, I think Bill said that's not jurisdictional, so I have less concern about that. If it's not jurisdictional, it's not jurisdictional. So I guess pretty much my comments have already been said by other people, so I have no further comment.
Okay. Mary?
Yep. Did you already mention whether the Board of Health has approved the septic?
No, it's under review.
It's currently under review?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
I called today and Deb Rogers is on vacation, and when she comes back, she'll probably review it.
Okay, thanks. And
Or
is the
final review.
driveway paved?
Excuse me?
Is the driveway proposed to be paved?
Yes, that's what it says on the plan, proposed
Okay,
paved
that's
driveway.
good. That's what I thought. I would also like to do a site visit. Have not had a chance to see it, and also just had a comment about identifying the limit of clearing in the permanent limit of work, so we know where the limit of lawn is, an edge of lawn is going to be in the future, and trying to maintain as much of a setback as possible from that wetland, the jurisdictional wetland. So I think that if we could show that and some permanent fencing or something to minimize future encroachment would be great.
At the 50-foot wetland setback, or is that what you're talking about?
Well, if it's possible at the 50 foot, that would be great. Some areas it may not be entirely possible. You want to make it, I don't want to put a fence that's going to cut across a lot of contours, but if you could pick a contour between.
Yeah, I think the applicant and the owner is trying to keep the wooded lot, like it's I don't think he's looking for a lot of lawn work. I think he's just basically going to grade and keep it like a natural setting. And I think that's the goal of the owner, is to keep the natural settings.
Right. So if we could just show that on the plan, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
So you'd like a fence or something like that as a
fence in the limit of lawn.
Yeah, or just a real set plan on what that's going to be to start with, where the clearing is going to be. And I share the same concern as Mary. I just wasn't going to get into it.
Right. I know your erosion control, theoretically, you're clearing to the edge of your erosion control. But is that the permanent edge of lawn, or is it?
Well, that would be the limit of work for this project. And if he wanted to continue with more activity, then he would have to refile for the added activity. So we're proposing that would be the limit of work.
Yeah, so I think that
is the limit of work the edge of lawn in the future. That's
well, the grading would be, obviously it's a 3-to-1 slope.
Right.
That would be loomed and seeded. And maybe if you want some landscaping plants or something like that, but I mean, that's just that we're not changing. Basically, the drainage pattern flows that way anyway. And we're basically doing a sheet flow instead of it's more of a point flow right now. So we're actually dispersing the flow towards the wetland. So I think he's trying to work with the site. It's sort of a difficult site with ledge on both sides of us. So we're we're working it out with a slab grade and with a slab floor. And we're trying to limit we're trying to keep the infiltrator away from the septic system. That's the reason why I put it over there, to not add that added water to affect the septic system.
Yeah, just for the record, there's stone everywhere, and
Ryan,
my intention is to not
identify yourself, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan Kelly, I'm the owner. My intention is to not have much lawn at all because I couldn't have lawn. So I'm actually planning on keeping all of the woods. I bought the lot to keep the woods in my backyard. I love the nature. I love the wetland. I only want to disturb exactly what I have to disturb for the building and then leave everything else natural.
That's awesome. Ryan, I just want to be clear, like part of our concern has to be actions down the road. If there are owners beyond you, we have to be worried about that too. But it's really, I think your plans reflect a lot of thought into what you just said. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Something we've done in, I forget what street, maybe it was Forest Street or something like that. Because it came so close to the wetland, we asked to have posts saying, no disturbance beyond this point, or at least posts so there was a limit. Not a full fence, because I don't think we have the power to say a fence has to be put in, but posts so there's at least some delineation of where that 50-foot buffer zone is.
I think when you do a site visit, you'll see the natural delineation of the ledge into that lower area, like Ben was saying. So I think you'll kind of see where that will stop, and over time, as the building comes together, we'll build in kind of those visual cues. And there's no way a tractor could mow half the lawn anyway. So
it sounds like we're all kind of on a similar page, site walk and getting the DEP number anyway. So I think we can move on.
Well, Pete, you have any questions?
Nope, I'm good. I agree.
Is Brian perpetually muted? I think you're
Brian
just
is muted. Gretchen, you might have to unmute him.
I'm trying.
There.
There you go.
Oh. Is it weird feedback? Because I'm hearing you on my phone. No feedback? It sounds okay? All right. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So, Peter, you're good. The thing on my mind, aside from what's already been said, is the drought that we've been having and the isolated wetland and the vernal pool question. I don't know what the current stance is on all of that. I haven't had to deal with a drought and a vernal pool in 5 years. Mary, do you remember what the rules are about that kind of thing?
Well, it wouldn't matter if it was a vernal pool if it's not in a resource area that's jurisdictional. So we still wouldn't, that wouldn't make it jurisdictional for us, even if it was a vernal pool, but we would want to have more protection, and it might might think twice about having a septic system right next to it. So there isn't something specific about drought and vernal pool, but it's not the right time of year to evaluate whether it functions as one anyway. So it might be dry this time of year in a normal situation anyway. But we should be able to tell based on the site inspection whether there's evidence of significant water staining and ponding in the area. And if it doesn't have that, then it's not going to be a vernal pool anyway. So there might be some field indicators that we could use to try to make an assessment of whether it's likely to provide that habitat or not.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Glad I asked, because I did think that in the back of my head that a vernal pool made the wetland jurisdictional. I had it flipped. Okay. So then when do we want to do a site walk?
So this would be continued to meeting on December 8th. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So do we want to do the sidewalk before? Obviously, then I suppose is where Mary's going with that. Yeah.
Yes. Well,
it looks good.
Such short daylight hours, so I think maybe this Saturday or possibly the following weekend. I'm not available.
Yeah, I'd be more inclined to next weekend, like the 5th or the 6th.
Okay, I could do the 6th.
Okay, how's the 6th work for people? Round of applause.
I could tentatively make that work, but yeah.
Okay. And Bob and Mr. Kelly, the 6th sound good for you?
I don't have a problem with that.
All right.
Let me know.
We want to do this over coffee, over lunch, maybe right before dinner. Who's got a preference for time?
Earlier the better.
Early, yeah.
Early the better.
Yeah, morning. It gets start early.
Mm-hmm.
All right, easy. Is 9 too late? Do you want to do earlier?
9 with 2 young children. I think 9 might be the earliest I can make it. So I can.
Okay. All right. So let's put that down for the 9 a.m. on Sunday, December 6th for our site visit.
Can I just add one thing, Brian, is, when you were talking about the isolated wetland, I just think it's worth noting that all the 2003, looked up about that issue. It goes on forever as long as there's no substantial change in the, there's been no change in use, no activity. I don't believe there has been, but certainly after 17 years, something might have changed out there too.
Sorry, Dan, I think I might have missed the beginning. What do you mean?
2003 delineation. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call it an isolated wetland back then also.
No, I understand that, but all I'm saying is I believe unless somebody has redelineated it.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
So it's not what's shown on the plan.
No, this is a whole different, this is, I believe it was this year's delineation. I think it was in March.
So, the plan we are looking at is it substantially the same as what's been developed?
There's been change in the, I guess, you hire one botanist to hire another botanist. You could be 10 or 15 feet off a line, and
if that's the case, I just think we should have the latest information.
that is the latest delineation. We had it redelineated since the flags were no longer hung. So we had it. The applicant has hired Norris Environmental to reflag it.
Okay, great. So it sounds like all of our comments have been addressed. For the moment, we'll meet out there on the 6th. We'll come back on the 8th. And so, as Ben said, it's time for Mary to make a motion to continue this until the 8th.
You can probably handle that one. I'll make a motion to continue this.
I think we might need public comment.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. See, this is why we got appeal, because we're just, getting sloppy with the Zoom business. This is what the rest of the commission's for, to keep me in line. Is anybody, I don't see any hands up. Anybody, Gretchen, Bud, TJ, 978, anybody here for this? Any comments?
All good here.
I don't see anything. Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. All right. So yeah, back to continuing.
So in the absence of any public comments, I would make a motion to continue this hearing to the December 8th meeting with a site visit on December 6th at 9 a.m.
And the meeting on December 8th. Is that
December
7?
8th. Is at 7 p.m. Yes.
Seconded.
Brilliant. All right, roll call. Benjamin.
Yes.
And Bill.
Yes.
Daniel.
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
And Peter.
Yes.
And I will also vote in the affirmative. So, brilliant. We will see you guys all out in the field on the 6th.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on. We have Kevin Whitney of K&R Construction Company, LLC, at 84 Boston Road, DEP number 050-1337, a continued NOI to construct a 7,400 square foot building with 2 paved access driveways, paved parking and access on 3 sides of the building, and a gravel storage area to the rear and side of the building. All right, so let's start with Bill. What's new on this one?
Yeah. The applicant has asked for a continuance till December 8th. They're preparing revised plans based on some planning board comments and DEP comments. So they asked that they be continued until December 8th so they can submit new plans.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Bill before we continue this? No? Going once, going twice? All right.
Move to continue to December 8th.
Second.
Second.
All right. Roll call. Benjamin?
Yes.
Ben? Thank you. Bill, thumbs up. Good.
Yes.
Thank you. Daniel?
Yes.
Mary with a hand. Kevin? And Peter?
Yes.
All right, I'll vote in the affirmative as well. We should probably find out if high fives are a legal form of voting on video. All right, let's see, what do we have next? Joseph Bavaro at 3 Newburyport Turnpike, DEP number 050-1336, a continued NOI to construct a residential/retail building with parking area. All right. Bill, what's up here?
I'm going to let TJ from Millennium Engineering take the explain the revisions he made so far, and then after he explains those, I can give my comments.
Okay. TJ, the floor is yours.
Good evening. TJ Melvin with Millennium Engineering. Is it possible to be able to share my screen?
Give me 1 second, TJ.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just add that I think I need to abstain from this. I had some previous involvement with this project site with the Conservation Commission.
All right. You're our first Zoom abstainment. So what are we going to do? Do we do you just mute or do you stay quiet or I don't know?
I'll just stay quiet.
All right.
TJ, you be set.
Okay, thank you. All right. So since the last time we were in front of the commission, we've made a few minor modifications. The biggest being we slightly adjusted the parking layout. We used to have the parking under this portion of the building here. We've since removed that, modified this a little bit. You may remember the dumpsters were kind of in this area here. So we relocated them back down here. And then the remainder of the changes were just, kind of changing the striping and the parking. I believe the commission, one of the comments the commission had last time was to switch the infiltration basin to a rain garden. We ended up going bioretention area. So we had made that change, and then we had added some additional plantings this area here and through here as the commission had requested. We updated the drainage calcs to represent these changes to the parking layout. But other than that, it's pretty much similar to the original plans that we had brought to the commission. This is kind of just a little detail of the planting of the bioretention area. No, you got to see a little subsurface perforated pipe to make sure the water does enter into the native soil. And I can answer any specific questions you guys may have.
Okay, great, thank you. Let's go back to Bill. Let's let Bill speak his mind before we go around the horn.
Okay. Could I have control of the screen?
Yep.
Hold on a second. Right with you. Yeah, sorry. All right, can you see my screen now?
There you go.
All right, sorry. Okay, the first thing I wanted to note is I think there's a small error in the retail area proposed. I think the 3,000 square feet was before when you had the parking under the building.
So that's actually, sorry. That's actually still going to remain at 3,000. We don't have the full architectural plans of what's going to be in that space, but we're not proposing to be retail at this point.
So the extra space on the first floor is going to be vacant?
We're going to shift the utility room over there and may incorporate a kind of like a common room or meeting room area for the residential units above.
Okay. All right. So I just was wondering if, I know the number of parking spaces has gone down from 33 to 31.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure that you had the right number of parking spaces. That would affect the drainage if you have to have more parking. So, but if it's going to be basically an open area for the residential use, then I guess that would be something you should discuss with the planning board.
Yeah, we will.
I also saw that the planning board consultant engineer reviewed the drainage himself, and he noted that the test pits, he had like 5 test pits throughout the property, and the depth he went down to was about 5 feet, 4.5, 5 feet, and he hit sand. And the question that he had, and I think it came up in the environmental report that you had for the remediation, is that a lot of the soil was replaced. It was removed and replaced where the old building was, and then part of the remediation, they took out some soil and replaced it with some fill. And his concern was, did you get down to natural material, or was it fill? As part of the fill that was brought into the site. He recommended a little deeper test pitting to make sure that the soil is not changed. I know you hit the water table at a relatively shallow depth, so but the receiving parent soil would if it's clay down below, that might be an issue with the design. So he was asking for that. I don't know if you addressed that yet with the planning board consultant.
We haven't fully responded. I'm just waiting for a couple other items to just do one full submittal. We did reach out to one of the original LSPs, and they did provide us with a sketch of areas to be excavated, and it was minor areas almost at the intersection of the 100-foot buffer lines, kind of where that little point comes. And there was another one up, I believe it was closer to the, I guess, northernmost portion of the building. We also reviewed the groundwater monitoring well soil logs, and there was clay down about 8 to 9 feet. And just based on how the soil was in the test pits, we did have about 1 to 2 feet of fill, but then we did have a B layer into the natural sea. So based, with our opinion that the sand is naturally occurring on the site. The site is mapped as A soils. So there is clay deeper down, and again, about 7, 8, 9 feet deep. But we do believe that we have naturally occurring materials there.
Okay. All right. I did review the drainage. The drainage, very he changed it for the amount of parking and redesigned parking areas. So it all seems to be adequate still. I did notice that the DEP requested a groundwater elevation on the cross section of the profile of the drainage mitigation pond area or bioretention area. I don't know if I didn't see that on the plan, so I might want to add that back to the plan.
Yeah, I think that was actually an original comment on the infiltration basin, because I think we talked about that at the last meeting, that we had addressed that, but I can add that back onto this one.
And then again, you're showing a roof runoff downspout detail on the plans. Is that, I don't see them located on the plans as to where they're going to be located. And are they going to just discharge out to the parking lot so that it will flow down to the receiving slotted infiltration pipe into the bioretention area?
That's actually one of the things that we're waiting to hear back from the architect on is, where we can get gutters to. Ideally, I'd like to just pipe it directly to the basin instead of just dumping it onto the pavement. So that might, as soon as I get that answer back, I do intend on just piping it direct though.
Okay. All right. That's really all the questions I had. I mean, you did locate the dumpsters. It seems to be 50 feet away from the wetlands now, with some fencing around it. I noticed that there was some changes that the planning board comments had mentioned, the proposed landscaping in the front and some of the issues with grading in the front. I think you addressed those already on this particular version of the plan, the revision of the plan. So hopefully that will address the planning board concerns. You haven't actually gone to the planning board, right? That's your first meeting, December 18th, I believe.
Yes, the 18th to the 16th. Yeah, it's a joint meeting with the select board and planning board, so it took a little bit of time to coordinate the two.
All right. I guess that's really all I have for questions right now. You have a landscaping plan. I don't have it on my screen. I don't know if the commission would want to see the actual landscaping plan that you prepared. I believe I sent copies of it to each of the members, so they might have comments on that. But I guess I'll stop sharing my screen and let the commission have their comments.
Okay, let's start. Benjamin, why don't you get us off and running?
Yeah, it's a tough site, given that it's almost entirely within the 100-foot buffer. It's always been my question mark or feeling about the site, and past uses complicates things, obviously, in both ways. But I think that most acutely, I noticed between the two plan sets that it looks like in the northern part of that parking, you've moved from your nearest point to the wetland being 27 feet to 20 feet, 21 feet. Is that right?
Yeah, roughly about there. I can't remember what the original was, but yeah, it did get closer.
Yeah, look, I think I looked at the old site plans you sent us and it was 26.9. I think it would be good to stay entirely out of the 25-foot zone, but with impervious surfaces.
Okay. Yeah, I can look at trying to squeeze that in.
It looks like it'd take away 3 parking spots there, but that's, I think, the only substantive. Yeah, I think it's the only substantive comment I have at this moment.
Okay. Bill, Lord?
I'm good so far. Thank you.
Okay. Daniel?
All set for right now.
All right. Kevin?
No additional comments. I thought what Bill Holt and Ben said were both really good.
Okay. Peter?
Yeah, as we said, it's going to become before planning, so we'll kind of get our perspective then.
Okay. And in that case, TJ, I just want to, thank you for, adding all of those details that you added that we talked about. I appreciate that. The thing that mostly I would comment on is the planting list for the retention basin and the decorative plantings. I think I'd like to see those sort of revisited and double checked to try to stay native and site appropriate. I'm just looking at them and seeing a few that kind of jump out at me as maybe not being either native or appropriate for their use. Just one example, I'm pretty sure, I'm okay with being corrected on this, but I'm pretty sure English ivy is not the kind of thing you want to put in a retention basin. That doesn't seem to strike my memory as, one of the things that goes in a wetland. So yeah, if you could have that double checked and looked over, I would appreciate that.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't think I'm seeing anything new. The one detail that might be worth talking about, as a residential, now it's primarily residential, and you're leaving out the commercial aspect of this. Will there be usage by the residents of their backyard? I don't see any paths or amenities of this green space for the residents. I'm just curious if that's something you guys have talked about, and if so, will it end up on a plan?
We haven't discussed it, but I can definitely check with the applicant and see what their thoughts are. I don't know, it's such a small area with, limited space as it is in kind of an industrial area, but I'll check with them and we can call something out on the plan.
Yeah, just to make sure we have, a look at whatever that might be. And, if there's anything we need to cover, then we can. And if not, then no big deal. That's fine. But if there's anything to cover, that seems like something that, in a manner of speaking, if I were to move into this building, I would be, out with a weed whacker, making myself a path to walk down to the pond and, building a dock or something, I would, I would be doing something. So I'm presuming that if you guys don't do it, the residents will.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd probably be better if it came through you. Okay. So then Bill Holt, going back to the test pit business, did TJ's answer cover your concerns? Do we want to have them back again to go over the test pit business?
Well, I think we should have them back only because they have not gone to the planning board yet, and I don't want to have them close us out and then have some changes that the planning board may require for parking and whatnot, which would affect the drainage. So I think maybe it would be better to have them return. I mean, they still have to go through the process of the planning board. So they, if we were to close out, we couldn't receive any more information if things change with the planning board review. So
right. Actually, I suppose what I meant more was, I'd like to see the planting plan anyway. So I know I've got something I'd like to ask for. But I didn't know if you felt like you wanted more information or not in that regard.
I think I'll review what he mentioned. He did mention to me, he went through some of the test well, monitoring wells, and other soils. If he had those results, I'd like to see them. I think the planning board consultant, Joe Sawaka, would probably want to see those as well. But it does seem to make sense what he was saying. So I'm not overly concerned that the detention area won't work. So I'm pretty sure it will probably work well. So.
And I did go through just in case it were an issue, and if I were to just switch it to a worse soil, and we just end up with an outlet structure. I essentially it'd be the same design, just very little infiltration. But yeah, I did go through the exercise just in case.
Okay. So then let's get into a date for continuance. Peter, when are they going to see you?
I think the 18th of December.
Okay, so 18th of December. So then TJ, you'd need some time to adapt and adjust and come back to us. So we're looking at January. What's our schedule in January, Bill Holt? Do you know that off the top of your head?
I think January 5th would be the first meeting we'd have.
Okay. TJ, do you want to be on the 5th, or is that a little bit too busy? Do you want to punt to the one after that?
I'd like to be on the 5th if we could, just because we have at least received one round of comments from at least the review engineer and an initial review with the planner. So hopefully I should be able to turn it around relatively quickly.
Okay. So then, do we have any public comment before I miss that detail again? Any hands up? Anybody here to speak on this project? Going once, going twice. Okay. So then, barring any other commission commentary, let's have a motion to continue this until the 5th of January.
Move to continue this hearing until the 5th of January at 7 p.m.
Seconded.
Excellent. All right, roll call vote. Benjamin.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Thumbs up. Daniel.
Yes, sir.
All right, Kevin.
Yes.
And Peter.
Yes.
All right, I'm also going to vote in the affirmative. All right, thank you, TJ. We'll look forward to seeing you on the 5th with a very pretty plan, we hope.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so let's see. Mary, if you're there and you can hear us, you're all set. Hey, you are there. All right, that was easy.
Back.
Moving on, what do we have next? We have David Manti, 0 Pine Island Road, map R30, lot 5, DEP number 0501330. A continued NOI to construct a dock/pier, ramp, and floating dock within Salt Marsh Resource Area and ACEC. All right, so Bill Holt, what's the update?
Update is that I spoke with Tom Hughes, who's a consultant for Mr. Manti. I also spoke with Mr. Manti. They're still in the process of revising plans. They have had it surveyed. The plans are not complete yet, so they've asked to be continued to December 8th.
Okay.
Have we
Anybody?
have we received DEP comments, Bill?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Have we received DEP comments?
I believe there were comments and they wanted a more detailed plan, was the first thing, which is what they're preparing now. And I think that may answer some of the questions, but there are also, you know, obviously it's a dock that's right within a marsh. There's no other access to the property other than by the water. So it's a unique situation, I think. I've never seen a dock built where you can only get to it by boat. So
I mean,
it's also the ACEC, which is another hurdle. So
at this point, it's contravening to our policy. And so maybe Tom feels like he's to test the policy. We'll find out.
yeah, I did give him the final revised policy. He has it, so he knows, he's aware.
Just for the sake of bringing Mary up to speed, are you, is that finger on your lip because you're looking at an aerial photo of this?
I'm looking at DEP's comments on it. And they said that they required a 401 water quality certificate. It requires notification to abutters. It requires notification to National Wildlife Refuge. It's within estimated habitat, so it requires notification to Natural Heritage. And Conservation Commission cannot issue an order of conditions for at least 30 days after the filing of an NOI unless the program determines that the project is not within habitat. So they need to satisfy the Natural Heritage requirements as well.
Yeah, it's a priority habitat and an estimated habitat.
Yes, if Tom comes up with anything, it'll be very interesting, we suspect. But all right, so I guess we'll continue this to the 8th and see if they put something together.
Mary, can you refresh my memory? Does the 401, is that gonna, what's that gonna trigger within the AC, ACOE?
Well, it may trigger Army Corps.
Right.
And I don't know what he's going to come up with, you know, how it's going to comply. I haven't seen the plan, so I don't know enough about how large the structure is and whether it's, how much is in below mean high water and if it meets chapter 91 and all those other things too. So there's a lot of hurdles.
We recently ratified a policy that basically said that by our reading of the Wetlands Protection Act and how it connects to the Waterways Protection Act and the 310.9, that where 310.9 clearly says that no new structures are permitted in ACEC without a management plan that's approved by EEOE, that we're not planning on approving any structures in the ACEC.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's our policy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, that's not on our website, or at least I could not find it on our website. Do you know if it's been put up yet?
I will double check. I thought it was.
I may not have male pattern blindness.
All right. Well, if you guys want to keep talking about this, I'm going to suggest calling each other tomorrow, you know, and working this out. Let's keep this rolling. Let's keep moving. So who wants to vote to continue?
Move to continue.
Second.
Thank you, guys. All right. So continuance to the 8th. We have a first and a second. Roll call. Benjamin.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Daniel.
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
And Peter.
Yes.
All right. I'm also voting the affirmative. So let's move on to our final item of the evening. We've got Justin Leonard at 37 Boulevard on Plum Island. No DEP number yet. This is a continued NOI to restore an existing small parking area. All right.
I did speak with Mr. Leonard as well, and he's asked for a continuance until the He and I have to get together again to revise his notice of intent application. He's going to be obviously changed to a restoration of the dune in the area where he did disturb it for the proposed parking area that he had started before. Doug had asked him to stop and file a notice of intent. So we have to finalize that. So in time till December 8th to get that back into us. So he's asked for continuance.
Okay. Mary, do you want to go over the basics on that one? Have you seen any of that one?
I spoke with Bill earlier today and have a little bit of the history on it, but it sounds like we need a plan, so not much point in discussing it too much tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, who would like to motion to keep this up on the 8th?
Motion to continue.
All right. Second. All right. So we have a first and a second for continuing this to the 8th. Roll call vote. Benjamin.
Yes.
And Bill is ready with his thumbs up. Great. Daniel.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Kevin.
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
And Peter.
Yes.
Excellent. I will also vote in the affirmative. So then what are we rolling into next? We've got COC, none, no extension permits, no emergency certificates, no reissuances. In our other business section, we have the local bylaw and regulations, schedule a work session meeting to discuss amending bylaw and to adopt regulations. So, Bill, let's turn the floor over to you on this one. You can sort of bring us up to speed with your conversation so far.
Yep. All right. I spoke with Lisa Mead to discuss the process to amend the current bylaws. And that's what we have to do. We have to have meetings to discuss and propose the amendments to the current bylaws, either the current bylaws as they are for Plum Island, if you want to amend those at all, and to also include to adopt an inland resource protections for all of Newbury. We have to propose an amendment, draft up the new bylaw, and then submit that to the Board of Selectmen after we have a hearing on it for their review and to put on a warrant article on the town meeting. So the first part would be to have work sessions to draft the actual bylaw amendments to incorporate the whole town. And Lisa recommended we do that as a commission, that we write the amendments in the new bylaw, and then have a work session with different departments, heads, and members of the town, to the town departments to discuss any, like Board of Health, building, planning board, to discuss any revisions they might like to see, or how that will coordinate with their departments as well. So I would think we'd want to start that process of amending bylaws by drafting a bylaw, which, I can use the current bylaw and bylaws from other towns to kind of create a new bylaw and distribute to the members so we can meet and discuss it at a public hearing. It's a public meeting, actually, not a public hearing. We would have a hearing or a meeting where we discuss it amongst the commission, where the public is invited to attend, but they're not invited to participate. And at that point, it's more of a work session for the commission to finalize the draft of the bylaws. Inside the bylaws, we would incorporate the authority for the commission to adopt regulations, which would be basically the performance standards that we would want to see for the different resource areas. And those could be adopted by a meeting of the commission, and then a public hearing, and then they vote on it. If we adopt it, it becomes effective without having to go to town meeting. So it's kind of the first process is to amend the bylaws, and the second process is to adopt regulations that once the bylaws have been ratified by the town meeting. So I think we'd want to try to set up a date either on possibly December 1st or possibly December 8th, or a whole different meeting if you'd like a different date, just to discuss this bylaws, and we can get out some draft copies that we can all work on and review and give our dislikes and likes and start the process.
Okay. So then, for the December 1st meeting, you can send out that thing that we've kicked back and forth a little bit, and we can all have a look at it. And the goal for December 1st would be to have a rough draft of some sort that we can then bring up again if we need on the 8th. That then, in theory, even if we don't like it, even if we're not done with it, we can keep the ball rolling and move it on to sort of town review to see what they have to say. Speaking for myself, Mary, just to sort of put you in the loop on this one, what I would like to do primarily is take the orders of conditions and sort of the boilerplate stuff and make those all into regs so that there's no surprises. I'm thinking more of the homeowners that come into this without a consultant than the consultants, because, they all have done this before. But especially in the case of, say, a wetland replication or something else fairly unusual, rather than having all that stuff on the back end, I'd like to see it on the front end. So it's all, the transparency is high. People can read through the details and deal with these things, early, and we don't have to worry about getting in plans that are, misdrawn or leaving out details that we would normally require and that sort of thing. So that's what's primarily on my mind. There's some other stuff that, be fun to do, but, that's primarily my motivation on this one. And if anybody else wants to speak for themselves, that's fair. But just to let you know, at least where I'm coming from.
Yeah, there are lots of model bylaws available. MACC has a model bylaw, and I think maybe one that would be good to also reference is Newburyport, since their Plum Island bylaws are similar to Newbury's, and they added an inland component to their bylaw as well, and so you can see how they dovetailed the two and have some setback performance standards in their bylaw that work fairly well.
Cool. And
technically it's an ordinance,
yeah,
it's a city, but it's the same format.
Yeah, we've go ahead, Ben. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, from my perspective, I was hoping to achieve some protections for buffer zones to try and increase, protection on the resource area itself, and have some more formal protections for buffers. I haven't quite figured out the best way to do that. I think it's something that we should all talk about. I have ideas, but I think it's time to have some formal setbacks.
Yeah, there's so many examples, so we don't really have to reinvent the wheel. There's tons of good. So just maybe we need to make some decisions about distances and things like that.
Yeah,
to what some other towns have.
Yeah, I've been looking for maybe you go. Sorry, go ahead.
Rowley, Salisbury, Newburyport, Amesbury, Ipswich, they all have bylaws. So
yeah.
I'm probably getting into wheel reinvention more than I need to, but I have a few ideas.
Actually, Salisbury does not. Their bylaw was overturned. They enacted it and it was overturned a couple years later.
And Bill, did Lisa give any reason to her thinking as to why we would not want to bring in expertise and perspectives from outside of the commission early in the process?
Well, yeah, she said basically that we should create the bylaw that we want to propose, and then open it up for discussion amongst the other boards. So we give them something to review, as opposed to, sort of muddle in the works with everybody else's views before we get to that point.
Yeah,
think
I mean,
it's
I'm not
better
even.
to have the commission. Good.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking even before that point where I was hoping to get public interaction prior to us taking something to other sections and have it more be a bottom-up process than saying, okay, the commission's going to do this, then we're going to vet it through all these town other boards and committees, and then we'll go to the public. I was hoping to try and have a subcommittee of people who are interested in contributing to this process early, and kind of having the whatever was proposed be a reflection of that. But if Lisa thinks that's not the way to go, it just feels a little heavy. But if that's not the way that Lisa thinks it should be done, then there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah, she did mention that basically you could get bogged down with a lot of other input that, may not get us where we want to go. So we thought we'd be better off.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Mary?
Well, just that, the main value of having a bylaw is just because it exists at all, so that it provides another appeal avenue. So it gives the commission's decisions a little more weight, knowing that somebody's going to have to appeal both to EP and to Superior Court. So even if it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that you're looking for, it serves an important function. And I think having one in place and then having the regulations that establish a setback is really those are the big items.
Yeah. I mean, my perspective, I'm trying not to set the bar too high, because getting shot down for asking for too much would be counterproductive.
Yeah.
But that's sort of the gist of it. And I know Bill Holt has a copy of all of our different ideas that we have fed to him in the last month and a half. And so, Bill, if you can sort of put that together and, I don't know if you have time or if you already got it and it's just waiting to go. If you can get that out to us, prior to the 1st so that we can have a discussion over something in common, that would be good.
Yep. I'll try to get it out early next week.
Thanks. Well, I hope so. We're meeting on the 1st.
Oh, wait. That's right. It is next week. Sorry. I was thinking 2 weeks. You know, faster than that.
Yeah, if you don't do it early next week, Bill, that might be a problem.
Good luck.
Yeah, and then so hopefully we can go over, everyone gets a first pass. We get to sort of, let our opinions be known on thumbs up, thumb down. We can highlight some of the more tricky sections, and then maybe we come back to it on the 8th, and then we can keep the ball rolling along Lisa's suggested schedule. And maybe the public involvement would kick in late January or early February. So, all right. So, unless you guys all want to keep talking about theoretical bylaws, and if nobody else has anything to say, who wants to go do something else?
Motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All right, roll call. Benjamin. Oh, do you want to stay, Ben? Do you want to talk?
I said yes.
Oh, it was very quiet.
Oh, okay.
Bill.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
And Peter.
Okay.
I'll vote in the affirmative as well. And that's a wrap for the evening. Congratulations on being done before 9.
Good.
Well done.
All right.
Thanks for all the hard
Happy
work.
Thanksgiving, folks.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving. Good night.
Night.